The chamber of the Galactic Council was vast, stretching higher than any human could imagine. Alien species of every shape and form gathered in solemn silence. Their eyes glowed with curiosity, suspicion, and a quiet, simmering fear of what humans might do next. Human delegates entered, their boots echoing across the polished floor. They moved with caution, aware that every step was watched. Whispers filled the air, alien voices murmuring secrets humans could barely understand. The tension was thick, almost suffocating. Council leaders perched on elevated platforms, their expressions unreadable. Some were cruel, some hesitant, but all shared one thought. Humans were unpredictable. Their intelligence, courage, and defiance had challenged every expectation, and now the council debated what to do. A vote was called. Silence fell, heavier than stone. The human delegation waited, muscles tight, hearts pounding. Adored. Each vote was a step closer to either annihilation or survival. The room seemed to shrink, the air almost burning with anticipation. The council murmured among themselves, words like threat and danger floated through the chamber. One elder leaned forward, his voice cold. Humans are clever, but they are weak. They will not survive if we act decisively. His words sent a chill through the humans. Human eyes scanned the chamber, noting the subtle movements of alien limbs and facial expressions. Every twitch could mean betrayal. They had survived worse, but never a calculated strike from the galaxy's most powerful leaders. Every heartbeat felt like a countdown. The first motion was made. Some council members nodded, others shook their heads. The human delegation realized quickly the council intended to shed blood, not metaphorical blood, but human blood. Their faces hardened. Fear mingled with resolve. A silence, then a signal. Alien guards moved toward the humans with weapons that hummed with deadly energy. The chamber's temperature seemed to drop. The humans did not panic. They had trained, prepared, and adapted. Fear would not break them. The first shot rang out, startling even the aliens. A human delegate rolled, dodging an energy blast aimed for his chest. His reflexes were sharp, instincts honed over years of survival. Others followed, moving as one, deflecting attacks with quick thinking and clever maneuvers. The council gasped. Humans were not crumbling. They were surviving. One delegate used the environment, flipping tables and blocking laser fire with improvised shields. Another hacked a control panel, causing lights to flicker and security doors to slam shut. Whispers turned into shouts. Some council members realized their plan was flawed. Humans were adaptable, clever, and fearless in the face of superior firepower. What they expected to be an easy strike was turning into chaos. The chamber itself seemed alive with tension. Humans communicated silently, hand signals and nods conveying complex strategies. They moved like a well-trained unit, using intelligence over brute strength. The council watched, horrified, as their own chambers became a battlefield of cunning, not destruction. An elder barked orders, frustration rising in his voice. He could not understand how a species so young could counter every move with precision and courage. The humans exploited weaknesses, predicting every attack with instinctive brilliance. The energy weapons malfunctioned. Humans had jammed circuits with clever tricks. Sparks flew, and alarms blared. The council realized they had underestimated resilience and intellect. These humans were unlike any other species they had faced. The humans seized control of small systems, turning the council's own technology against them. Doors locked, screens displayed warnings, and guards were disarmed with minimal effort. Each action emphasized their ingenuity and quick thinking. The council's confidence faltered. Their voices, once filled with certainty, now carried panic. They had expected fear, submission, and a quick victory. Instead, they faced courage, intelligence, and resilience. The hallmarks of humanity. Humans did not stop to gloat. They moved with purpose, defending themselves while seeking openings. Their determination was clear. Survival was not enough. They would expose the Council's treachery to the galaxy, proving that human defiance was a force to be reckoned with. Even in the chaos, humans remained calm. They protected the wounded, coordinated movements, and countered attacks with ingenuity. Their eyes burned with resolve, a silent message to the galaxy. Underestimate us at your peril. The Council's debate resumed, but now it was desperate. Plans were overturned in panic. Voices rose in anger and fear. Humans had disrupted the careful balance of power with nothing but courage, intellect, and a refusal to die quietly. A single human delegate reached the main console, fingers flying over alien controls. Screens flickered, showing council secrets. The chamber erupted with shock. Every plan the council had relied on was unraveling before their eyes. The first part of the attack ended, but the chamber remained tense. Humans had survived the initial strike not through brute force, but through intelligence, adaptability, and resilience. The council's dark decision had backfired in the first moments. Outside the chamber, whispers of the events spread like wildfire. Across the galaxy, other species took notice. Humans were not weak. They were dangerous, clever, and unyielding. The council's reputation was shaken, and the story of their miscalculation began to ripple outward. The humans regrouped, breathing heavily, but alert. Their eyes met, silently agreeing. This was only the beginning. The council may have tried to kill them, but they had underestimated the very essence of humanity. Courage, intelligence, and defiance were on full display. And somewhere in the council chambers, an elder whispered to himself, dread thick in his voice, "We may have started a war we cannot control." The seeds of human triumph were sown, and the galaxy would soon witness the consequences of spilling human blood. The council had struck first, expecting humans to crumble under superior firepower. Energy blasts streaked through the chamber, cutting sparks from the polished floor. Humans dove, rolled, and took cover, hearts pounding but minds razor-sharp. Fear fueled their focus. One delegate lunged forward, grabbing a fallen control panel as a shield. Bullets of light bounced off its surface. Another kicked a chair into the path of a hovering drone, causing it to topple and spark. Humans adapted faster than the council anticipated. The council's elite guards moved with precision, but humans were unpredictable. They split, flanked, and anticipated attacks with uncanny skill. Each movement was a combination of training, instinct, and raw courage, making the council question every strategy they had prepared. A human engineer found a control panel and pressed buttons with shaking hands. Alarms rang across the chamber, confusing the council guards. Doors slammed shut, isolating attackers. Small victories multiplied, showing that intelligence and creativity could match advanced weapons. Humans were wounded, but they did not falter. One delegate dragged a comrade behind a fallen pillar, tendons straining, sweat stinging his eyes. Even in pain, he calculated escape routes, scanning for weaknesses in the council's assault. Its pain sharpened their minds instead of dulling them. The first council strike had underestimated human speed. Delegates used momentum to their advantage, ducking and spinning to avoid blasts. One leaped over a laser trap, rolling to his feet with a grin. The aliens were stunned. Their power was formidable, but human instinct was faster. A council elder roared orders, waving tentacles and calling for reinforcements. But humans anticipated it. They jammed communications, intercepted messages, and sowed confusion. Every tactic the council employed seemed countered, making the humans appear almost untouchable. One human grabbed a small energy rod from the floor and tossed it into the air. It exploded, sending sparks and smoke across the chamber. Guards stumbled, alarms shrieked, and humans moved through the chaos with precision. Bravery and clever improvisation kept them alive. The humans' tactics were simple but effective. Use the council's tools against them. Holographic projectors distracted attackers, while sensors triggered false alerts. Even the most disciplined alien guards were disoriented. Human cunning was reshaping the battlefield in real time. A young delegate ducked behind a console, eyes wide, but determination burning. She used her fingers to hack the alien interface, redirecting a security drone to block reinforcements. Her intelligence, patience, and courage made the council's lethal machines falter. Energy weapons fired continuously, cutting arcs of light across the chamber. Humans dodged, deflected, and turned traps back on attackers. They were not invincible, but their mind and spirit gave them a strength the council could not calculate. Every strike met clever resistance. A human delegate grabbed a fallen alien staff, spinning it with precision. He blocked a laser blast aimed for a comrade and knocked over a council drone. Every move was quick, decisive, and fearless. The aliens realized humans were not only surviving, they were dominating small skirmishes. The council shouted in disbelief. Their plan was simple: crush humans with overwhelming force. But humans were clever, coordinated, and relentless. Every attack they survived became a lesson. Every maneuver taught them how to counter the next strike. Adaptability was their weapon. One human sprinted across the chamber, dodging energy blasts, and used a holographic panel to create a false projection of himself. Guards fired at nothing while he moved to a safe position. Each creative tactic fueled confidence. Humans were not just fighting, they were teaching the council humility. The chamber erupted in chaos. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and alien guards stumbled over debris. Humans moved like lightning, using instinct and intellect together. Courage, ingenuity, and resilience allowed them to turn the council's first strike into a test of their strength rather than their defeat. A human delegate noticed a hidden panel and pressed a sequence of buttons she had memorized from prior observation. Laser turrets swiveled and fired at the ceiling, creating confusion and distraction. The council's precision became sloppy, and the humans exploited every small advantage. The council began arguing among themselves. Some wanted to retreat, others demanded more force. Humans watched, calculating and exploiting the discord. Their intelligence was clear. They were not just reacting. They were strategizing faster than the council could regroup. Another human engineer hurled a makeshift EMP grenade, disabling nearby security drones. Sparks rained down. The chamber filled with smoke, and alarms became erratic. Humans pressed forward, showing that ingenuity could overcome raw firepower. Fear of humans spread among council ranks. A wounded delegate rose, face bloodied, and deflected a laser with a metal panel. He then used the momentum to knock over a guard, showing brute strength combined with clever timing. Even in pain, humans refused to surrender. Every council attack met unexpected resilience. The council's elder tried to rally troops, but humans were everywhere. They moved with unpredictability, exploiting gaps in alien formations. The very chaos the council had created turned against them. Humans thrived in the storm, their determination unyielding. The first strike ended in partial failure. Humans survived, protected their wounded, and maintained control over key positions. Their courage, quick thinking, and defiance had turned a lethal ambush into a proving ground. The council realized they had underestimated human strength. Outside observers in the galaxy began to hear rumors. Humans had survived the impossible, countering attacks from a coalition of advanced species. Stories of human intelligence, courage, and resilience spread quickly. The first strike had not destroyed humanity, had announced their arrival. The humans regrouped, hearts racing, minds sharp. They knew the council would strike again, harder, smarter, and faster. Yet their confidence was unshakable. Fear could not break them, and brilliance gave them an edge the council had not accounted for. The council members whispered among themselves, panic and disbelief growing. They had spilled human blood, expecting compliance, fear, and weakness. Instead, they had unleashed intelligence, courage, and defiance. Humanity had survived the first strike and marked its place in the galaxy. And somewhere in the chamber, a human delegate looked at the council with unyielding eyes and whispered, "If this was your best strike, prepare for what comes next." The stage was set. Humanity had survived the first strike, but the war for respect and survival was only beginning. The humans were shaken but alive. Their breaths came heavy, hearts pounding, yet their minds were sharper than ever. They had survived the council's first strike. Now, survival alone was not enough. They needed action, a plan to turn the tide in their favor. Delegates huddled behind debris, eyes scanning the chaotic chamber. Every council guard was on high alert, but the humans had noticed patterns, weaknesses. They whispered silently, communicating strategies without words. Intelligence was their weapon. A young engineer tapped rapidly on an alien console, fingers moving with precision. Systems flickered, lights blinked, and doors that should have been sealed opened unexpectedly. Small acts of ingenuity were creating opportunities for larger victories. Outside the chamber, monitors revealed the council's mistakes. Humans analyzed movement, predicting patrols, and guards' timing. Every decision, every pause, became information they could use. Observation and intellect had become a shield stronger than any armor. One human delegate climbed a ledge, crouched in shadows, and used the council's communication system. He intercepted messages redirecting guards to false locations. Confusion spread, and the humans exploited every lapse with calculated boldness. A council elder bellowed in rage. Their superior numbers and firepower should have crushed humans instantly. But humans were relentless, adaptive, and clever. Every strike they survived became a lesson. Every mistake by the council was a tool for retaliation. The humans coordinated attacks like a single organism. One distracted, another disabled drones, while a third sabotaged power systems. The council's forces stumbled, unprepared for a species that combined courage with intelligence at every turn. A human engineer rigged a series of traps with debris and alien technology. Energy blasts triggered them, sending sparks and fire across corridors. The council's elite soldiers were caught off guard, struggling to adapt. Humans laughed quietly, spirits high despite danger. Delegates moved with careful timing, striking and retreating, studying the reactions of every alien. They learned quickly, adapting to each tactic the council used. Their intelligence and observation became unstoppable forces, turning defense into the first wave of offense. The council's confidence faltered. They had expected fear, weakness, and chaos among humans. Instead, they faced strategy, courage, and brilliant improvisation. Whispers of doubt spread among the council, disrupting coordination and morale. One human delegate accessed a holographic panel, revealing secret council files. Strategy plans, troop movements, and weapon layouts were now visible. Humans memorized everything, preparing for the next step. Knowledge, they knew, was the greatest weapon. Human operative used a laser pointer to redirect energy beams, reflecting them back at approaching guards. Aliens stumbled, and the humans seized the moment to advance. Every move demonstrated ingenuity, resilience, and precise timing under extreme pressure. The council tried to counterattack, deploying reinforcements and advanced drones. Yet humans had already predicted it. Delegates moved silently, intercepting communications, and using the environment to shield themselves. Intelligence and foresight turned the tide. Smoke and sparks filled the chamber. Humans moved through it like shadows, undetected but deadly. Their courage never faltered. Every strike was calculated, every action deliberate. It learned from the first strike, turning the council's own power against them. A human delegate hacked a secondary power source, sending a surge through council equipment. Drones malfunctioned, alarms screamed, and doors locked unexpectedly. Chaos spread, yet humans remained composed, using every disruption as an advantage. Council guards panicked as humans struck swiftly and decisively. One delegate flipped a console to block reinforcements. Another used a holographic decoy to confuse attackers. Adaptability had become their greatest weapon, human ingenuity surpassing alien technology. The humans did not just survive, they fought smart. They created distractions, exploited weaknesses, and turned the environment into a battlefield advantage. Courage and intellect merged, proving that strategy and determination could overcome raw strength. One delegate found a vulnerable point in the council's security network. Fingers flying, she redirected energy beams toward guards, while drones collided in confusion. Every small success fueled morale, showing humans that cleverness was as powerful as firepower. Council leaders shouted orders, but humans had anticipated nearly every response. Delegates moved silently, striking and retreating with surgical precision. Every victory, no matter how small, built momentum. Humans were no longer just surviving, they were taking control. But the chamber trembled as humans sabotaged weapon systems. Sparks rained down, alarms blared, and the council's confidence crumbled. Humanity's resilience and ingenuity made them appear unstoppable. Their defiance was no longer quiet, it was visible, undeniable. Outside the chamber, the council whispered in fear. They had underestimated a species they thought primitive and weak. Humans had proven that intelligence, courage, and resilience could rival even the most advanced technology in the galaxy. A human delegate moved to the center, voice steady, commanding attention silently with presence alone. Others fell in behind him, forming a united front. Strategy, courage, and human resolve radiated, a symbol to the galaxy that humans could survive and thrive under the impossible. Every council strike met calculated resistance. Humans adapted faster than their attackers, learning in real time, countering with clever tactics. Fear of humans spread among the aliens, replacing arrogance with doubt. Humanity had become a force they could not ignore. A small team of humans worked together to disable surveillance drones. Sparks flew as circuits overloaded. Delegates moved silently, avoiding traps, using wit and courage to stay ahead. Every moment emphasized that intelligence and determination were humanity's greatest weapons. The Council's plans unraveled before their eyes. Humans had survived the first strike and now turned it into counterplay, exploiting every weakness. Courage, intelligence, and ingenuity had shifted the battle, showing that no weapon, no matter how advanced, could outmatch human will. Humans regrouped and coordinated silently. Every delegate knew their role, every movement had purpose. The Council's elite forces were outmatched not in strength, but in adaptability and brilliance. Humanity had become a living lesson in defiance and strategy. The chamber was chaos, yet humans moved like a single organism. Fear was absent, replaced by focus, observation, and calculated action. Their intelligence, courage, and resilience ensured every strike counted, every opportunity seized, and every weakness exploited. An elder in the council muttered in disbelief. They had underestimated humans' mind and will. The first strike had been a mistake, and now humans were exploiting that mistake with skill and courage. The galaxy would not see them as weak ever again. A human delegate whispered to another. They thought they could break us. Now we break their plans. Every movement was precise, every action deliberate. Humanity's counterplay was not only survival, it was a statement, we are not weak. By the end of the first counterplay, humans had shifted from defense to active control. They held key points, disabled major threats, and forced the Council to rethink strategies. Their intelligence and courage had turned the tide, and the battle was far from over. Humans looked around, wounded but unbroken. Sparks still flew, and smoke filled the chamber, but they were alive, stronger than ever. Every action had proven that resilience and intellect could face overwhelming odds and still come out ahead. The Council realized that spilling human blood had been catastrophic. Their forces were confused, their authority shaken, and their plans unraveled. Humanity's brilliance had turned their strike into the first chapter of a greater victory. A human delegate stood tall amidst chaos, breathing heavily but smiling. "This is only the beginning," he whispered. Defiance, courage, and strategy now defined humanity. They had survived the first strike and had begun a counterplay that would echo across the galaxy. The humans had survived, and the Council's failure was spreading fast. Across distant star systems, word of the Council's miscalculation rippled through communications. Aliens whispered in disbelief. Humans were clever, fearless, and far stronger than they seemed. News of the counterplay reached a dozen allied species. Many had long feared the Council's power, but had doubted humanity. Now they questioned their loyalty. The humans' courage and intelligence had shaken assumptions and stirred curiosity, even admiration, among the galaxy's other races. Within the council chamber, panic reigned. Elders argued violently. Some wanted to strike again immediately. Others urged caution. Every plan seemed flawed. Humans had survived, adapted, and turned the first strike into their advantage. The council had underestimated them. Humans had moved from survival to offense, exploiting weaknesses with precision. Each strike, each clever maneuver had been calculated. Their ingenuity was now a signal across the galaxy. No species could ignore a civilization capable of such strategy and resilience. A young human delegate tapped into the council's communications. Holographic feeds displayed panic in distant sectors. Council allies were whispering and questioning authority. Humans observed, eyes calculating. Every mistake the council had made was a new opportunity to shape galactic perception. Outside the chamber, alien observers murmured in astonishment. Humans had survived a deadly ambush and outsmarted the galaxy's most powerful coalition. The word spread quickly. Humans were not weak. They were cunning, brave, and unyielding, a force to respect or fear. In distant command hubs, Alien leaders debated the humans' rise. Some saw them as a threat. Others saw potential allies. Council authority had weakened, and humans had become the center of attention. Courage, intelligence, and resilience were redefining human reputation. Humans had hacked the Council systems to broadcast selective evidence of their struggle. Every intercepted message, every clever counter, was shared strategically. The galaxy began to witness human strength firsthand. It was a demonstration of both survival and moral dominance. The Council tried to regroup, sending envoys to calm allies. But humans had already seeded doubt. Videos, intercepted calls, and clever leaks made it clear the Council had shed human blood and failed. Their arrogance had created a ripple of instability across the galaxy. Back in the chamber, humans moved with purpose. Every action, from disabling drones to hacking security, had been planned for maximum visibility. It was not just survival, it was messaging. Humanity was showing that courage and intelligence could overcome overwhelming odds. The first signs of rebellion appeared. Minor allies of the Council refused to send reinforcements. Some even defected subtly, offering covert support to humans. Strategy, morality, and reputation now intertwined, showing that human ingenuity could shape alliances beyond the battlefield. Humans observed every reaction. Calculated and calm, they used this shockwave to consolidate positions. Key systems, previously controlled by the Council, were now destabilized. Humans had proven that intelligence and strategy could outmatch brute power. Every Council elder felt the pressure. Rumors of human victories and clever defenses reached every corner of their empire. Panic replaced arrogance. They expected fear and submission. Instead, they faced admiration, curiosity, and doubt elements they could not control. Humans exploited this uncertainty. Delegates moved quickly, disabling security measures while broadcasting proof of the Council's failures. Every move emphasized intellect, courage, and defiance. HFY was not just survival, it was influence on a galactic scale. Across allied systems, alien leaders debated their positions. Humans were no longer a distant curiosity. They were a symbol of resilience, intelligence, and moral strength. Even enemies could not dismiss the brilliance of a species that had survived against the Council's full might. The humans' actions inspired smaller species. Those previously oppressed or fearful began to dream of independence. Courage and intelligence, combined with resilience, had created hope. Humans were more than survivors. They were pioneers shaping galactic thought. Back in the Council chamber, elders struggled to maintain order. Every strategy failed, every plan thwarted. Humans had anticipated and countered their every move. The shockwave of human defiance spread not only physically but mentally across the galaxy. Humans capitalized on the chaos. One delegate accessed the central communication hub, sending a message of warning and strength to multiple systems. It emphasized that humans would not be bullied or destroyed, and the galaxy should recognize their power and intelligence. The Council's allies, seeing human brilliance, began to question loyalty. Who would trust a coalition that could not control a single species? Fear of humans' intelligence, courage, and adaptability began to outweigh fear of the Council. Reputation mattered as much as weapons. Humans continued to disrupt Council operations. Security drones were neutralized, doors were locked, and communication channels flooded with misinformation. Each action displayed cleverness and precision. Intelligence and strategy had become their most lethal tools. The ripple effect was undeniable. Across star systems, humans' name carried new weight. Tales of bravery, cunning, and unyielding spirit spread. They were no longer underdogs. They were a force the galaxy could not ignore. HFY was on full display strength, intelligence, and defiance, recognized universally. Council forces grew desperate. Every plan was countered, every move anticipated. Humans had transformed the battlefield into a showcase of resilience. They survived, adapted, and thrived in chaos. Their courage and brilliance became a template for survival against overwhelming odds. The humans' calm composure contrasted sharply with Council panic. They moved deliberately, exploiting every weakness. The shockwave of human victory spread further as other species watched, their curiosity piqued and respect growing. Intelligence and defiance proved mightier than fear. Humans communicated silently, coordinating attacks and defenses. Their unity, focus, and clarity of purpose demonstrated that resilience was not just physical, but mental and strategic. Every action carried intent, building pressure and confusion within council ranks. The council realized the full scale of their mistake. Shedding human blood had not destroyed the species, it ignited a force greater than their weapons. Humans' courage, intelligence, and strategic thinking had created a galactic ripple that could not be undone. Every minor victory was celebrated quietly among humans. They knew this was only the beginning, but the shockwave of their actions had already begun reshaping alliances, reputations, and perceptions across the galaxy. The Council could no longer act with impunity. Outside the chamber, humans watched as distant systems reacted. Some celebrated subtle victories, others reconsidered loyalties. The galaxy was learning to respect intelligence, courage, and resilience. Humanity had survived, countered, and now influenced the minds of countless species. The Council's elders whispered in fear and disbelief. They had intended to kill humans, expecting fear, submission, and weakness. Instead, they had unleashed a species that combined intellect, courage, and strategy, proving that no amount of power could crush the human spirit. Humans regrouped and prepared for what was next. Their first strike survival had turned into counterplay, and now the shockwave was spreading across the galaxy. Intelligence, bravery, and defiance had become their message. Underestimate humanity at your peril. A young delegate looked toward the stars, determination in his eyes. Humanity's fight had grown beyond the chamber. The Council's failure had inspired attention, curiosity, and respect. Humans were no longer a species to control. They were a species that shaped destiny. And somewhere, an elder in the council whispered, dread in his voice, this ripple. It will become a tide. Humanity had survived, thrived, and now the shockwave was unstoppable. The galaxy was beginning to understand what humans truly were, fearless, intelligent, and unyielding. The council's chamber was filled with panic. Orders clashed with confusion. Elders shouted, claws and tentacles shaking in desperation. Every plan they had relied on was collapsing. Humanity's resilience and intelligence had turned the tide, and the Council was powerless to stop it. Across the galaxy, minor allies whispered among themselves. They had seen humans survive, outsmart, and manipulate the Council's own systems. Doubt replaced loyalty. Questions spread like wildfire. If humans could defy the Council, who could they truly control? Inside the chamber, humans moved silently, observing chaos. Their eyes met, silently agreeing. Every misstep the Council made was a chance to expand influence. Courage and intelligence were now combined with calculated opportunity. Every action counted toward victory. First Council strike had been lethal, but humans had survived and countered. Now they exploited every weakness, disrupting communication channels, locking doors, and turning security drones against guards. Intelligence and strategy had become their strongest weapons. A human engineer hacked a control panel, projecting holographic images across the chamber. Council secrets, strategies, and miscalculations were now visible to every witness. The elders realized their arrogance had been exposed. Their doom was not distant, it was unfolding now. Guards scrambled to regain control, but humans anticipated every move. They moved like shadows, striking where needed, retreating when necessary. Courage and precision were unmatched. The Council had underestimated the blend of human intellect and resilience, and it was proving fatal. The chamber shook as drones collided with force fields. Sparks and smoke filled the air. Alarms screamed, and chaos spread. Yet humans pressed forward with calm determination. Every attack, every defensive maneuver demonstrated courage and cleverness beyond the Council's expectations. A young delegate disabled a secondary power grid, causing lights to flicker. Security systems failed, doors locked and unlocked erratically. Council members panicked. Every human maneuver emphasized that intellect and adaptability could rival brute strength, turning fear into a tool. Across allied sectors, whispers of human defiance grew louder. The Council's reputation faltered. Minor species had already begun reconsidering alliances. Humans' courage, quick thinking, and resilience became a symbol. HFY was no longer theoretical, it was alive in action. Council elders shouted, demanding obedience. Commands clashed with confusion as humans exploited miscommunication. Each failure in coordination was magnified, every hesitation punished. Humans had become a force the Council could not anticipate, and every misstep brought them closer to doom. Delegates moved with precision, combining observation, courage, and tactical planning. Sparks flew as energy blasts met countermeasures. Systems malfunctioned. The Council could not respond quickly enough. Humanity's intellect had become a storm the Elders could not weather. One human engineer redirected energy beams back at approaching drones. Sparks flew, metal bent, and guards stumbled. Every action demonstrated that humans were not merely surviving, they were thriving under pressure, turning the Council's greatest strengths against them. Whispers of rebellion spread through the chamber. Some Council members hesitated to attack humans further, uncertain of loyalty and control. Fear of humans' intelligence and resilience began to outweigh fear of defiance. The Elders felt their authority slipping like sand through fingers. Humans exploited this hesitation. They coordinated attacks, disabling weaponry and security systems while exposing Council secrets. Every move displayed courage, intellect, and adaptability. The tide had shifted, and the Council's doom was accelerating with every calculated action. A human delegate hacked a communications node, sending a warning across the galaxy. Every system that received the signal learned of Council failures. Intelligence, strategy, and moral strength combined to create a ripple effect, shaking confidence in the Council beyond their chamber walls. The Elders' desperation grew. They had expected humans to fear, to obey, to collapse. Instead, humans fought smartly, strategically, and with courage unmatched. The galaxy now watched as a species had survived and struck back, undermining the Council's dominance. One human flipped a console, redirecting security lasers to the ceiling. Sparks showered down, drones malfunctioned, and Council guards faltered. Every maneuver emphasized cleverness and resilience, proving that intelligence and courage were equal to or greater than raw power. Council whispers turned to panic. Minor allies reconsidered positions. Some secretly aided humans. Fear and doubt spread faster than any weapon. Humans' survival and counterplay had created cracks in the Council's influence that could not be repaired easily. A delegate used a broken console to improvise a shield, deflecting an energy blast aimed at a wounded comrade. Bravery and quick thinking saved lives. The human's courage was contagious, inspiring every member to act decisively, proving that spirit was as lethal as any weapon. Humans coordinated silently, reading the chamber and responding in sync. Every move was deliberate, every action calculated. The Council could not predict or counter the fluidity of human strategy. Intelligence and courage had turned chaos into a weapon of its own. The chamber erupted as humans disabled the central energy node. Sparks flew, alarms shrieked, and systems failed. Council elders shouted, helpless to regain control. Humanity's intellect, courage, and resilience had reshaped the battlefield completely. Outside the chamber, reports of human victories spread across the galaxy. Allies and rivals alike were astonished. The Council's authority was shaken. Humans had survived, thrived, and displayed qualities that inspired fear, admiration, and respect. HFY had never been clearer. The Council's doom became inevitable. Every action they took to regain control failed. Humans had anticipated, adapted, and exploited every weakness. Intelligence, courage, and strategic skill had turned the first strike against its creators. Arrogance had become their downfall. Humans moved steadily through the chamber, securing control points and stabilizing positions. Every delegate knew their role. Every movement was deliberate. Courage and strategy combined to create a force that the Council could not withstand. Their doom was now certain. An elder whispered, dread thick in his voice, "We cannot recover. This species. They are beyond us." Panic spread like wildfire. Fear of humans' intellect and resilience had replaced all confidence. The Council's collapse was not a future possibility. It was present, unfolding in real time. A human delegate glanced at the others, smiling faintly. Wounded, exhausted, but unbroken, they had survived the first strike and countered every attack. Their courage and ingenuity had forced the Council into chaos, proving that intellect and defiance could outmatch raw power. Humans disabled remaining defenses and created a perimeter. Sparks and smoke filled the chamber, but morale soared. Every victory, no matter how small, emphasized courage, intelligence, and resilience. Humanity had survived and now controlled the battlefield. The Council's allies watched in disbelief. Minor species whispered encouragement for humans, emboldened by intelligence and strategic brilliance. Humans had not only survived, they had become symbols of strength, courage, and defiance. I was alive in their every move. Council leaders shouted, but voices clashed in confusion. Delegates exploited every hesitation. Sparks, alarms, and malfunctioning systems created chaos. Humans had learned to turn every attack into opportunity, every mistake into advantage. The Council's doom was now complete. A young human delegate climbed a console, scanning the chamber. Eyes met those of comrades. Courage, strategy, and intelligence were on full display. They had survived the first strike, countered every attack, and now the Council faced the consequences of underestimating humanity. Outside the chamber, reports traveled at faster-than-light speeds. Aliens throughout nearby systems heard of human brilliance and defiance. Fear, respect, and curiosity spread. The Council's authority was fractured, and humans' reputation as unstoppable, clever, and resilient had grown exponentially. Humans regrouped, breathing heavily but smiling faintly. They had survived, adapted, and thrived. The first strike had been transformed into proof of intelligence, courage, and unyielding spirit. Council doom was inevitable. Humanity had become unstoppable, a true symbol of HFY. And somewhere, an elder whispered, we thought we could crush them, created our own ruin. The Council had shed human blood, but in doing so, they had unleashed a force that would reshape the galaxy forever. The humans had not only survived, they had claimed victory. The Council lay in ruins, their authority shattered. Sparks and smoke filled the chamber. Humans stood tall, bloodied and exhausted, yet unbroken. They had survived, outsmarted, and outlasted. Courage and intelligence had turned the tide. The galaxy watched in awe. Every Council elder realized their defeat was complete. Their allies whispered among themselves, uncertain whom to trust. Humanity's resilience had rewritten the rules. Fear and respect now replaced arrogance. The Council had underestimated the human spirit, and it had cost them everything. Humans gathered, surveying the damage. Wounded comrades were tended to, consoles repaired, and systems secured. Calm precision marked every action. Even in victory, humans moved with purpose. Intelligence and courage guided them, ensuring no opportunity for chaos would be wasted. A human delegate spoke quietly, voice carrying over the chamber. We have survived. We have proven that no force, no matter how powerful, can crush a species that refuses to yield. His words resonated, echoing through the remnants of the Council's power. Outside the chamber, word traveled faster than light. Aliens across star systems observed the humans' actions and decisions. Fear mingled with admiration. They saw resilience, intelligence, and moral strength, and they understood that humanity was no longer a species to be controlled. The humans faced a choice. They could exact vengeance, crush the Council completely, and dominate the galaxy, but they hesitated. Their strength was not only in courage and intelligence, it was in wisdom, restraint, and principle. They would show the galaxy the meaning of true power. A young delegate stepped forward, eyes blazing with determination. He projected a calm authority. We are strong, but we are not monsters. The galaxy must learn respect, not fear. Those who choose peace will find alliance. Those who choose aggression will face the consequences. The Council elders trembled. Every failure, every miscalculation had led to this moment. Humans had survived the strike, countered every attack, and now offered not destruction, but a warning. Intelligence, courage, and ethics had combined to create a force no one could ignore. Across nearby systems, alien species took note. Humans were not just fighters, they were symbols. Courage under fire, brilliance in strategy, and moral restraint made them leaders by example. The galaxy would remember this day, the day humans proved they could not be crushed. Delegates activated communication arrays. Messages went out. The Council had shed human blood, underestimated the species, and failed. Humans had survived, adapted, and responded. They offered an ultimatum not of conquest, but of choice, respect, or face consequences. The Council attempted to speak, but humans ignored empty threats. Their attention was on the galaxy, on the species that would listen. Intelligence and foresight guided every decision. Their courage had saved them. Their wisdom would define the next steps. Aliens far and wide debated what they had witnessed. Courage, intelligence, and resilience were not just human traits. They were a demonstration of what any species could achieve with determination and principle. The shockwave of human action reshaped alliances and trust. Humans moved deliberately, repairing damage and ensuring stability. They were careful, strategic, and measured. Every action reinforced that survival alone was not enough. They wanted to show the galaxy that human ingenuity, courage, and ethics were unmatched. One delegate projected an image of the Council's failed attack across nearby systems. Sparks, smoke, and alarms captured the moment of human defiance. Intelligence, strategy, and courage had prevailed. Every observer understood that underestimating humans was now the gravest mistake imaginable. The humans' choice was clear: demonstrate power without cruelty, intelligence without tyranny. They offered a chance for peace, a chance for the galaxy to respect the species that had survived the impossible. Courage and wisdom combined to create influence stronger than any weapon. A young engineer turned to the group. "We survived because we never gave in to fear. Now we lead, not with vengeance, but with example. Strength, intelligence, and restraint. That is what makes humanity unstoppable." Delegates nodded, unified in purpose. The Council could not comprehend the calm authority radiating from humans. Their blood had been shed in vain. Every attack they had launched had reinforced the humans' position. Courage and intellect had proven far stronger than any weapon or threat. In distant star systems, species whispered of human brilliance. Courage, resilience, and strategic mind had turned the impossible into triumph. Aliens debated alliances, treaties, and trust. Humans were no longer a distant species. They were a standard by which others measured strength. Humans did not boast. They had survived, adapted, and triumphed. Intelligence and courage guided their every action. They were vigilant, careful, and wise. The galaxy would learn not by fear, but by observing the combination of strength, wit, and moral restraint. Delegates coordinated final systems checks, ensuring no Council remnants could regroup. Every movement displayed intelligence, purpose, and courage. Their defiance was not reckless, was deliberate, calculated, and principled. The galaxy witnessed a new benchmark of HFY excellence. The Council elders realized total defeat. Fear, confusion, and regret filled the chamber. Humans had survived a strike meant to end them. They'd countered outsmarted and now dictated terms with wisdom and precision. Every misstep of the Council had amplified human influence. Humans projected messages to the galaxy. Intelligence, courage, and resilience are the true measures of power. Respect those who survive and adapt. Those who act with aggression will face the consequences. Every word reinforced the human's role as a force of intellect and principle. A delegate looked to the stars, eyes burning with determination. "This is a warning to the galaxy. Humanity is watching. We are strong, intelligent, and brave. Underestimate us, and you will regret it. Respect us, and you will thrive." The message echoed through space. Council remnants whispered, panic-stricken, realizing the humans' brilliance had turned them into icons of strength. Courage, intelligence, and resilience had proven far stronger than any threat or weapon. Humans had survived, adapted, and shaped the galaxy itself. Humans walked through the chamber, surveying damage and victory. Every delegate knew their place in this moment. Their courage, intellect, and careful choice of restraint had transformed victory into legend. The galaxy now understood that humans could not be crushed. Every action was deliberate. Every communication emphasized the values that had made them survive: intelligence, courage, resilience, and ethics. Humans had fought back, survived, and now offered a choice. The galaxy was watching. The consequences were clear. The Council could only cower. Humans had survived, adapted, and now dictated terms. Courage, strategy, and moral authority had turned the battlefield into a platform of influence. Humanity's triumph was not just survival, it was a warning and a lesson to all. A young delegate spoke to the galaxy's observers. We fought, we survived, and we showed our strength. But we offer a choice: respect life, respect intelligence, and respect courage. Ignore this warning, and consequences will follow. Humanity will not be ignored. Across star systems, whispers turned to discussions, debates, and strategy. Aliens reevaluated loyalties, alliances, and perceptions. Humans had survived a strike that should have destroyed them, and now shaped the galaxy by courage, intelligence, and moral restraint. Humans had survived, countered, and triumphed. They had proven that resilience, intellect, and courage were more powerful than any weapon. Their choice was clear: offer the galaxy respect and warning, not vengeance, as they set a new standard of HFY excellence. The Council lay in ruin, their authority shattered. Humans stood tall, victorious, and wise. Every observer understood: courage, intelligence, and resilience defined the true power of humanity. Their warning was clear, their choice deliberate, and their influence unshakable. The final message echoed across the galaxy: remember this day, humanity survives. Humanity watches. Respect us, or face the consequences. The galaxy would never forget the species that had survived, outsmarted, and defined its destiny.